Hey, Oh shit. You know, you put that to hurt you. This is right now. Oh.
Try not to mug. To the Dodgeball Bruisers. To the Team Rally Cruisers. Touchdown Dancers. And the Long Distance Chase. Be yourself. Colt.
no.
These kind of things have happened. There was a famous two-man British team that rowed across the Atlantic Ocean, if you can believe it. Me getting into a ship the size of the Queen Mary would take a bit of persuading. But these two guys,
You know, when you look at sea monsters, what's your favorite legend?
well, I'll tell you what. You said about the Megalodon. I'm going to have to go with Megalodon because it was actually Peter Benchley's intention that his character of Jaws, this anti-hero, if you will, was supposed to be one of these creatures that may or may not be out there. Steve Alton actually wrote a book called Meg, which is nowhere near comparable to Jaws. But these are great characters in these books. These giant sharks that are swimming out there, and what makes it so fascinating is these sharks are not stuff of legend. These things actually exist. So all we are saying is cryptozoological research is that these creatures have existed up into the fairly recent past, and there's no reason why they still cannot be out there working. Even to this day, there's absolutely no reason. Uh, when we talk about the water, we're talking about water that is 70 miles deep, high as a jet flies, and all that volume that you have in that water too. It's not like the land, you're just looking at the trees and the canopy and the above ground. We're talking about immense volumes of area, and for a creature doesn't have to hide in this kind of area. It could be swimming around doing its thing every single day, and nobody's going to come across it because nobody ventures into the water. So to me, even from a scientific point of view, there is no reason why an animal the size of Megalodon still not be out there and still be an apex predator. We just simply don't come around it because we don't invade its territory.
I think back of two incidents with Megalodon that happened, let's say, within the last 80 years. There was, about a year ago, the great white shark that ended up caught dead in the nets in Australia. If anybody knows, they have nets surrounding the beaches to try and keep the great whites away from the public so they can enjoy their surfing and swimming in the ocean. And that shark almost lost its head. It was a 17-foot great white, and it almost lost its head with one bite. And they figured that shark that hit it had to be Jaws size, which was 30 plus feet, in order.
As if I could. And I'm not an expert on conspiracies in any stretch of the imagination, but if a government such as Australia knows that these kind of creatures exist, it is better to keep this kind of stuff secret, because you can imagine what it would do to the tourism of people wanting to visit the great beaches of Australia or any place else. If the American government caught wind that a megalodon was prowling the oceans around Florida, it's probably better to keep quiet about these kinds of things, because you are losing so much money. So if I could put that one little hint of conspiracy out there, but I think it's probably some nations know that these things are swimming around, especially places like South Africa, because they have such a rich history of fighting. But I think there are enough of these sites that probably did make it to some sort of scientific government agency. They probably do know that these things are out there, at least to some degree, especially the megalodon. The megalodon is out there swimming around. I'm sure there's a government that knows.
In your research of Megalodon, Ronald, where do you think, if the creature exists, that it's hiding?
Steve Alton, the author of Meg, suggested the Mariana Trench, 7 miles thick in the Pacific. These kind of things do make sense. They would have, squid, giant squid, another thing we'll be talking about later. They do have squid out there to prey upon, and also they have different types of whales that have been known to dive to those depths. So there is food out there. But to think that this creature may just simply have as a territory a strata right below the surface where the last rays of sunlight hit, that seems completely feasible, because nobody is going to be diving down that. Nobody, unless you're in a military type of craft like a submarine, nobody's going to see it living there. So I really don't think it is hiding. I think its territory is just simply below that of what man uses. And occasionally, every now and then, workfish, sometimes they are seen close to the surface for whatever reason.
Do you not believe, though, that there would have to be, obviously, a breeding population for them to be there? And if they're in the deepest parts of the Pacific and the Atlantic, sharks are, I believe, cold-blooded creatures, so they need to stay in the warmer temperatures of water, which would bring them more towards the equator area on this planet. But with the oceans being so large, you would think that it probably would have a larger population and would be seen more closer to shore, rather than just hiding in the depths, much like a squid would, or even, to put it on land, a Bigfoot in the forest.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes complete sense. For a creature that size to feed on things, a person would be probably pretty low on its food spectrum, on its hierarchy of what it's going to prey upon, because there would just not be a lot of substance there for a creature that could go 70 feet long with something worth of chest. So it probably is dwelling in waters that are at least deep enough something that is going to actually be able to make a deal of. So yeah, your point is absolutely incredible, and it probably is not, around the beaches so much. However, that's not to say that a juvenile would not venture out and see what's going on. I think that kind of stuff does most certainly happen. And I think a lot of these sorts of these giant Great White sharks may very well be juvenile megalodon. And we don't even know what a juvenile megalodon looks like. It may be very well, but it looks exactly like a Great White shark. It's not reaching full size. But there's so much about the shark that is a mystery. Sharks in and of themselves, they meeting with the Great White shark, people, know this thing, fear this thing, love this creature. But we still don't know very much about it. We don't know about breeding. We don't know about the lifespan. These are still mysteries out there because they inhabit the ocean, and we as human beings know very little about the ocean. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do know about our own ocean.
Well, there was just a film from divers, I believe, in the United States or Australia, one of the two. I apologize for not being accurate on that right off the bat, where they filmed a 20-foot great white coming up to the cage, and that's the largest one that has been put on film as of this date. So, I mean, to know that there's a 20-plus footer out there, what's next? A 25-footer? A 30-footer? It's possible, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, it is. See, what's going on is whenever people are seeing these creatures, they're falling into the bell curve. We're seeing the average size of them. So that's not to say that there's something not grossly larger out there swimming around. Even from our species such as the great white shark. If we are seeing 20 footers, this might just be on the very edge of the bell curve, and we might be seeing something, could conceivably go, 25% larger than that, 30% larger, if not more, because that's just the diversity of nature. So, depending upon how a great white shark grows, which we know very little of, then it could very well grow in relation to its prey area. So, it's a possibility there's one out there that's much larger than that guy that swim up the tail.
Are you surprised, though, that when you look at, say, a very, let's say, a very seafood-type culture like Japan or China, where they don't care what they harvest, whatever's in their nets, they are eating. And you look at shark fin soup in China, which is supposed to be a delicacy, and then murdering literally hundreds of thousands of sharks a month just for their fins, and then throwing the bodies back in the water. I mean, you would think when they send their crews all out to the depths of the ocean to go get food, that maybe they would have come across one in their nets or something along those lines.
Sure. And I hate to always pull out this old chestnut because so many people use this for an example, but I'll have to use the whole sealer camp analogy here. We know that they exist out there, but still, even though we know they exist, very few are caught. So I would think that the megalodon, if they are out there, are still very rare, and they possibly are not being caught. So maybe they are being caught, they simply break free, or they just haven't been on the radar of the nets as of yet, have escaped. But if they are out there, and people continually race the ocean for food, sooner or later one is going to be caught. And I think that would be an unfortunate thing to have happen with a new species or a species being rediscovered and also destroyed at the same time because of ignorance and greed.
But with all of the ocean traffic that is out there, there's thousands of ships going back and forth across the Pacific, across the Atlantic. And yes, their safety and they're not out there for sightseeing tours. I understand that. But you would think that there would be more reports from these ships, especially those sailing around the equator, of these sightings. And yet there just isn't.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you, in speaking of Japanese again, in 1977, we do have the case of the Japanese trawler bringing some sort of strange creature I'm sure that you can recollect seeing this image of what appear to be a pulsar sprung up on some sort of hook system. And this is right near on the coast of New Zealand. Now, scientists confirmed that it was a decaying mass, but whenever you first look at it, it was all the world like a long-necked, sorry, and water from stuff now. So is misidentification being said? I'm not sure. But if there might be these things are actually picked up by certain vessels here and there throughout the world and are just either being misreported and thrown back in as something vastly larger than a lot of people think that anything washes up on shore. Most of those strings always inevitably come to pass. Or that they are just disidentified to find these things and thrown them back in because they have no idea what they are. Yeah, it's an interesting question. There's cameras everywhere. There are video monitors, all kinds of shit. But yeah, it is true that these things aren't being captured. But we do have scientific instruments picking up strange sounds, like the same flute sound that have been recorded. So there are these types of unidentified echolocations occurring in lakes and oceans around the world that are being picked up on instruments of science and still are completely.
We are talking with Ronald Murphy tonight on Space Out Radio. He's a cryptid author. You can check out his books and everything on Amazon.com. Ronald, we're going to take our first break of the night. When we come back, let's get into the Kraken. And no, I'm not talking the vodka. The sea monster. Did it really take down sail ships way back in the day? You're listening to Space Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. We'll be right back after this break.
This is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm going to bring you the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio, Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Every week, I'm going to bring you the freshest information on the globe. I'm bringing you guys the truth, extraterrestrials in the sky, prophecy, chemtrails, rainbow spot, the seventh angel, biblical skies, ancient gods, ghosts, spirits. See it, hear it. So let's do this every Monday night. I'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you as a rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK calls the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Did you know that Spaced Out Radio is live 7 days a week? This is Jim Tyson, host of Spaced Out Weekend. You can listen to my show, Spaced Out Weekend, every Saturday and Sunday night starting at 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific. On Spaced Out Weekend, we like to delve into the paranormal, even the newest technologies that have enhanced modern-day ghost hunting. And sometimes, we'll get a little creative and dabble into the crypto world, UFOs, and much, much more. So tune in at www.spacedoutradio.com on the weekends and listen to me, Jim Tyson, on Spaced Out Weekend.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Rivulet Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrndr.com/rivuletrndr, or my Facebook page, Rivulet R&R, to set up an appointment for relaxation, Reiki, or reading. No matter where you are, Space Out Radio listeners will also receive 10% off their first visit. It's time for you to make time for you.
The Spaced Out Radio Network can be found at spacedoutradio.com. Hi there, this is Dave Scott. Here you can join the latest on our weekly shows and news from around the world involving UFOs, cover-ups, cryptids, ghosts, and more. Read articles from our very talented staff and check out our weekly tarot card reading from psychic Catherine. You can also sign up for free on our forum and tell us about your experiences. SpacedOutRadio.com. Always live, always interactive.
Ready to find out what's flying up in the sky? Me too. Hi there, this is Rich Giordano. Please join me every Sunday night at 7 for the AZ UFO Show. It's a fast and compelling 2-hour show on UFOs, extraterrestrials, conspiracy theories, and much more. Every week we will have great guests and great topics to try and answer the ultimate question, are we alone in this universe or not? So tune into the AZ UFO Show with me, Rich Giordano, right here on the Spaced Out Radio Network at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with Dave and his guests? Learn more at spacedoutradio.com with the latest news, features, photos, and articles. spacedoutradio.com is where you can stay up to date on what's happening around the world and up in the stars. And now, back to Dave Scott.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Space Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. And hey, we're always live and interactive at SpaceOutRadio.com. Check out what we are doing. If you want to hook up with us on Twitter, you can do so. Follow me at Space Out Radio. Facebook, you can like our page, Space Out Radio Show, as well as you can ask to join our Space Out Radio group where you can talk with us current hosts, you can talk with former guests, as well as you can add your own to it as well. We try to stay intimate and interactive with you and our audience all the time. Tonight we are talking sea monsters, and one of our favorite cryptid people that we bring on the air. He's back for his third show on Space Out Radio. Ronald Murphy is with us. He's an author. You can find all his books, whether it's on fairies or whatever you want to find out. It's on Amazon, and all you got to do is click on it, go buy his book. It's definitely worth the read. He's a very multifaceted and talented man. Ronald, thank you so much for joining us tonight again. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking about the practice.
All right, let's get right into it. For centuries, those who were ocean-bound had always heard the legends and the lore of big squid attacking these giant sail ships. They would draw pictures of these giant squid, which they called kraken, attacking these ships. And you would see these long, almost 100-foot long tentacles that were wrapped along on the mast, and the kraken attacking and coming overboard and eating the sailors and knocking the ship down and sinking the ships. How true were these myths?
Well, that is a great question. One of the things that we are having to examine here. The giant squid now is estimated to only be 40 to 50 feet, including the tentacles. But there are reports, from the 1800s, in our kids' representation of squid that have tentacles, 300 feet long, that are encircling the main mast and pulling the whole ship under. And throughout history, we have reports of this happening. And I very much believe that this kind of stuff has indeed happened. So are we talking about a giant squid, the Architeuthis? Or are we talking about another creature to describe the kraken? Is the kraken in and of itself a completely different species? Or are we misidentifying it today as the giant squid? I personally think that the kraken that has been reported in the Icelandic sagas is indeed something different than the giant squid seen and reported today, just because of its massive size. Actually, some people even called them vanishing islands. They were that big. And when approached, they would simply disappear under the water. But, that's one of the things that we have to look at as cryptozoologists. Whenever somebody tries to ascribe a ancient does it fit? And to ascribe the